She's buying my stairway to heaven.
We want to welcome you to the World Hacker Games, live from inside the HACKERverse, where hacker teams come together to unleash code from the shadows and crash test cybersecurity vendor solutions. If you think you got what it takes, then step into the ring and give us your best shot. Welcome, play hard, and let the games begin.
Yeah, you like me now, I say, boom, here comes the boom, ready or not, here comes the voice from the south, boom, here comes the boom, ready or not, how you like me now?
Hola kids, Surf Dog here.
What's up, Vega? How's it going?
And joining me today is that badass hacker lady from the north, Miss Rutabaga von Ginsburg. Say hey, what's up, Bega girl?
Hey y'all, how's it going? Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Hey, so Rutabaga is joining me in the purple room. There you go. Introduce our red teamers.
Red teamers, we've got Nemo, Swiss cheese, and Ogre today.
Yeah, and cool. And then wait a second. Let me play this first. Well, who do we have on our blue team?
Blue team today, we've got Wicked Wing, So-Called Seth, and Chief Running Target. Thanks for being here, y'all.
Awesome. Hey, and before we get started, one thing to keep in mind here, if I can find my overlay. Yeah, here it is. We're still doing an OSCP giveaway for the class and the exam voucher. It's like $1,500 value. Sign up if you're one of these people that needs certifications. During the show, if you we actually want you to come in and chat. So go to the YouTube channel, get in on the chat. We're going to be asking questions. We want feedback along the way. So make sure you do that. Real quick. We need people, but you can't talk until after I play.
Calling all hackers, red teamers, blue teamers, and everything in betweeners. You are very needed in the Hackerverse. So if you've got mad skills, we need you. Please get in touch. For real. ASAP.
Okay, so listen up. What we're going to do is the cool part about this show is we're revealing a brand new threat. That is it. It's Silent Bob. And we need to know a little bit about Silent Bob, what he does, what he is. Can you help us out there, Ms. Vega?
Yeah, let me take you through that. So Silent Bob, as many of you may or may not know, is a newly discovered attack against containers, microservices, and cloud native infrastructures. So if you're running Kubernetes or containers, you are a prime target. So let's take you through how it works. First, there's Naughty Bob that searches and scans for vulnerable containers that are running in an exposed Jupyter lab. And then Bob then uses that exposed Jupyter lab to infect that container. And then it continues to scan for looking for more vulnerable containers to infect them in a worm-like fashion. That's what you're getting the illustration of here. And all the while, it's concealing itself, obviously, by running a container within a container and using anonymized tools and protocols to communicate with the C2 servers and hide itself from plain view. Here's the insidious part, though, and since you won't know that Bob is there, it's being called Silent Bob, the attacker who is silently talking to Bob over the C2 server can execute any number of attacks, such as data exfiltration, planning malware, and ransomware. So let's see that in action right now.
Yeah, with that, we're going to open the arena. But before we do that, we're going to start our timers. We got the time to pwn, time to detect, and time to mitigate.
Let's go.
Let's go. The arena is now open. I think I need to add some people before we can.
I was stoked.
Here we go.
Hello, everyone. You're going to have, yep, there you go. I had my screen. So we all know this is going to be the Silent Bob attack. So we've built some custom tools. The first one's going to be the Jupyter scanner. So we're going to be able to scan a range of IPs to look for open Jupyter sessions. So the first thing I'm going to do is run this scanner on this IP range and see if we can find any open Jupyter sessions. Finds one right away. It's going to be on port 31954. So let me grab this. It also pulls a banner, so we can look at the banner and see what kind of information it provides. I have this command to filter it so it's easy to read. So yeah, it gives us everything about the Jupyter session, the version, any licensings, API routes, yeah, everything in there, which is a nice feature of this tool. I will post a link at the end of the show to this tool if anyone wants to grab it, test it out. So now that we have the port, we can go ahead and, oops, I deleted it. We can go ahead and jump into the other tool, which is the Jupyter worm, which is going to allow me to push commands to the open Jupyter session without a TLS connection. So let me hop in here. And then it is push.py. I better remember the flags here for it. So a -I for the IP. That is going to be 67.205.176.16. And then we need to specify a port. And that is 31954. And then if we go look at the example, we need to specify a terminal number. So this is kind of going to be a guessing game if there's any terminals that are open, but I'm going to start with 1. And then we can execute our commands. So I'm just going to run an ls for test. Let's see, what am I missing here? Looks like I'm missing something. Yeah, so push.py -I. And then the port. I missed something. I don't have to rerun this just to double check. in the port. It should. What am I missing? So -H. Oh, I'm missing the -C. So now I should be able to run the commands. So that's going to push commands to this Jupyter session. So from here, I can push in or pull in Nemo's beacon because he has a C2 server running. I'm going to pull that in so then he can start navigating around the Jupyter server. So the first thing I'm going to do is do a wget, grab his URL because this is a non-DNS URL, basically untraceable back to the attacker. So I can pull that in. Looks like that was successful. Just gonna clear this.
Yep.
I need to set the privileges. So I set a -X or a +X for executable.
We do have comments coming in here from Paul. I'm new to this, but would love to compete. Sure, we'd love to have you. Join the chat. It's on here. It's on the thing. Let me put that up again.
And then it'll be, now I'm going to be executing. So this is going to start up a container and pull in the beacon.
Let me turn that off now. What's that on your screen?
This is me starting up the script that installs the container and the beacon. So now if we want to switch to Nemo's screen.
What's up, Nemo?
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm looking for the,
Your alias suggests that you're a noob.
yes.
Won't let that fool you.
It looks like it's still installing.
I'm a forever noob.
And while that's
Always
running,
learning.
hey, Greg, we've got time to detect with
Are
our
you like detection?
high-scoring trace. We're watching everything that's happening right now.
Can you,
we'll get to it later, but wanted to get that metric in. You are being watched.
Oh, no.
We'll stop this one.
I'm waiting for this beacon to pop up.
We need to change the soundtrack. I'm sorry, I'm letting that go. Yeah, if there's a soundtrack you want, or you want some music mashed, let me know. And I'll have our music AI wizard come up with something.
You should have a connection now.
I should have.
So this attacks containers.
I don't know. Aha!
You have it now.
Did you see that? Did you see it pop up?
Yep.
I saw it pop up.
So why does this matter?
Because a container running inside of a container, you shouldn't be able to see the commands running inside the container on the container.
There it is.
But I need to know what's rutabaga.
All right, we're gonna go full screen here.
Why is this important?
So with the C2, with the command and control suite, you have all kinds of things that you can do once you get it operating. You can mask it as another process. You can look through the directories. You can do all kinds of things that normally you wouldn't be able to do. from just default access. These things have things built into them that allow you to do privilege escalation, that allow you to do lateral movement. That's why C2 frameworks are used in this attack, is because you can use the C2 framework to enhance your attack surface and attack other things connected to the network and connected to the box that you're inside of. So let's check out where I'm at, what's going on here.
To answer your question, Paul, we're looking for open terminals so we can install nanominer. What are you downloading, Nemo?
I found a secrets.py, so I'm going to download that. And there's a user interaction.py that I'm going to download too.
Oh, Red Teamers, Todd wants to know the commands you're running. Yeah, so what we'll do is we'll post all the commands and everything post-show. We'll probably have it up on GitHub.
Yeah, I think we should do like a blog. And then we'll links to all the tools.
Yeah.
And then like a walkthrough of the entire attack.
Now I'm going to go into the temp directory and
so the reason this is important, ladies and gentlemen, is like 80% of the workloads in the cloud run on containers, microservices, Kubernetes. Like everybody went to the cloud in Kubernetes. Well, oops. So this attack, it's silent, it's quiet. You won't know it's there. And once it gets in through a vulnerable container, you don't know it's there, and then it starts looking for other containers it can infect, and it kind of spreads. And you'll see that in the SPYDERbat console. So here's a little idea on how big this is. You can just Google this, right? So every day, Google themselves, they run about 2 billion containers, and they start up like 3,000 new containers every minute. So this is big. It's huge. Every organization, enterprise, small, medium business, doesn't matter. They're running containers or some kind of container orchestration like Kubernetes. So yeah, you're a target. Sorry, but that's what this is all about. Why we're doing this. It's big. It's major. That's why Silent Bob is evil. So we gave him an evil hacker mask. So that's it. And of course, SPYDERbat sponsoring this. In fact, they've already detected it. So they had a mean time to detect before the time to phone. So with that, speaks to the validity of that solution.
I just got a message from Nemo with some credentials. So what? It looks like you installed a nanominer, right, Nemo?
Yep, nanominer's installed. It's running. I got the secrets.py. It looks like it might be a hashed password, so you might have to crack that. But we have exfiltrated information about the users. We've exfiltrated access to the machine itself, and we have leveraged the machine itself to operate a nanominer, all through a C2 framework that runs as a process inside of the actual machine itself. So,
Rutabaga, you actually have a shirt that says you're a target?
No, but I'm gonna make one. Great idea.
We'll create a custom one. We'll put your hacker mask on.
I'm down.
And I forgot to mention that not only is Rutabaga a badass hacker, but she's also a badass roller derby queen. Don't mess with her; she'll body slam you.
All right, so sorry to interrupt, but you may find your session there a little funny, and that's because we just killed the pod you were on. That was an automated action that just was triggered.
Shell exit.
Oh, no way.
So you mean you can create policies that kills a session if you see flags?
Bummer.
Well, I
Sorry,
guess I
guys.
wasn't as slick as I thought I was. Huh?
Red team defeated.
We're out. We're out.
I just got spider swatted.
You got spider slam.
Oh, hold on. I still have some credentials.
Oh, the attack is still going.
Oh, we're gonna have to go back over to
here.
the screen. I'm gonna go over to Swiss's screen now. He's got some credentials.
Looks like I have a password hash. It appears to be MD5, so I think I have a directory. Yes, I do. Okay. So I need to create a new file. I'm just going to call it hash.txt. And here is the password hash.
So Seth, Blue Team, did you mitigate already?
What happened was when they tried to launch that nanominer, we have a policy that was watching policy violations, and on that nanominer, it essentially restarted a pod. So that just killed that whole container. So it's going to the way Kubernetes will work, that pod's going to restart, the container's just going to rebuild from the image, so the Jupyter Lab will come up in the correct state. It will still have that vulnerability, so we haven't completely we've contained the threat. And if they try to go in back in again, it's going to kill it again. But we also know now exactly what's happening to be able to update the Jupyter Lab, or at least stop the Jupyter Lab until we can get a patch in there and clean it up.
All right. Well, I'm going to call it time to mitigate already done because you've already stopped it. In my mind.
I just wanted to showcase this too. So here's all the commands we ran on the front end. So we didn't even have to access the Jupyter session to be able to execute commands. So I just wanted to showcase the front end of the Jupyter session because we haven't seen that yet. So, but let's crack this hash. Let's see if we can get a password.
So you still don't have Pwn yet, right?
No, I don't.
Okay. Oh, sorry to hear
Right
that.
now he's off the system. But he was able to get a file. It looked like that he's
So Nemo was able to capture a password hash. So I'm gonna see if I can crack it here. So it's hashcat.
Ultimate Pwn is you want to launch either some malware, ransomware, or a nanominer, right?
Yeah. So our point here is to launch an Ethereum nanominer.
Okay, so I'm not going to stop to find the Pwn timer then.
But see, as soon as I launched the nanominer on that pod, it got reset. So that's not a pwn. That's like a half pwn.
Yeah. Well, okay, you get credit for half Pwn.
But I did find credentials. Stop hiding credentials, people.
Yeah, but that's not damaging. That's just you getting credentials.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Credentials inside a machine can never lead to another machine. I mean, what am I thinking?
All right, so we're not going to call it yet because Mr. Swiss is still.
Oh, there we go. We got a password. Password's Panda17.
Okay.
So we should be able to SSH into the host machine. Panda 17. But before I do that, of course we want to be anonymous here. Let's try root at the IP. And then it's going to be a password of Panda 17.
As a reminder, hop
we go.
in there, do some chatting with us. Join the chat on YouTube. Are you in, Mr. Swiss?
Yep, let me get this nano miner deployed here. Or actually, it might actually be in here already. No, it's not. It was on the Jupiter session, so I got to pull it in.
I mean, from here, really, we could start up a whole nother cluster and
Yeah, we could.
all kinds of stuff.
we have-
We're inside the host machine.
We have root access now. Oops, forgot the file.
I did that too. Don't worry. That's how they caught me.
We're gonna unpack
They
it.
were like, oh.
I have to unzip the nano miner and then.
Well, the clock is ticking there, guys. So, 6 minutes to detect. Well, this kind of ran over. Time to mitigate. 15.
I would consider that pwned.
All right. We're seeing just the second time to detect. We're watching this session now too.
Oh, you guys are in the root box too.
So you're in. Okay. So there's a second time to detect.
Yeah,
We're not going to be able to
add
get
that
through
to
this.
investigation.
So you're watching these guys. They don't
Yes,
know you're
we
there.
are.
They don't know that you're watching, but they're watching. You're watching.
I would consider this this pwned.
Okay, so we'll stop time to fun.
Yeah, we got the nano miner
Until
deployed.
SPYDERbat works again.
We have
They're
root
working on
access
it right
here.
now.
Okay. So what's going on the blue team side? Do we have any visuals? Can anyone hear me?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Work this up. Come in, stuff.
Yeah, let's show the original Silent Bob attack, which turns out wasn't very silent. Let me hold on here. Present. This looks right. All right, so the way SPYDERbat works, a little bit different from Sims or the other technologies that you might be familiar with. Instead of collecting log data from various log sources from the application sources, what we're getting is process and network information directly from the Linux worker node using eBPF. And so what that gives us is essentially a single source of truth. We don't have to parse logs and try to figure out events. Essentially, you can see in this view, we've got processes. These P nodes are processes. And we also have C nodes that are connections. You also see T nodes, that's a thread. So a process, essentially a thread coming off of a process. And this relationship here is causal. So we're seeing this relationship where system D launches container D launched a container called Jupiter. Actually, the container is called Minimal Notebook. The process is running inside Minimal Notebook container. It's called Jupiter Lab. And so if I back up a little bit, so we can take all this information, and the way SPYDERbat works is we're just watching all of this live. So this is this micro Kubernetes cluster that the team had set up. You can see the Jupyter Notebook container is running over here. There's other containers running as part of this Kubernetes environment. We can see network connections coming in and out. And this is just the way SPYDERbat's running is we're just constantly watching this. So kind of moment by moment, we have this understanding of what the Kubernetes environment looks like, what containers what activity is happening inside these containers, what network connections are coming in, either east-west or north-south into these environments. Now, you're not seeing this screen. Sorry about that. All right, so this is this Kubernetes environment. Sorry, I apologize. That's my.
Seth, I don't know if there's a way if you can zoom in on that. Yeah, a little hard. There you go. It's a little hard to read. Thank you.
Yeah. So micro Kubernetes. That's just a lightweight Kubernetes environment. And so here's the Jupyter notebook. That container. You can see other containers are running inside this Kubernetes environment. This was at 5 in the morning. You can see, I can move this back and forth and get an understanding of network activity coming in and out of this environment. Also, because these Kubernetes environments are very, they auto scale up and down. People are pushing new containers, crushing new containers. So we have this sort of at any moment in time, what exactly was happening, what was actually active in terms of at the pod level, at the container level, et cetera. You'll notice as I'm getting, into the attack, the number, this red number is growing. What that represents is flags. So what SPYDERbat is doing is we're flagging activities, concerning activities inside of these containers. And so when I go back to this view, let me maximize my the graph here. So we're flagging kind of two things simultaneously, either exceptions to essentially deviations from a known good state. We know what Jupyter Lab is supposed to look like on a normal basis. And so what SPYDERbat does is essentially captures that workload behavior, and we could build a policy. Jupyter Lab is supposed to run as a particular type of user. There's only certain children that we're expecting underneath Jupyter Lab. There's only specific types of network connections that we expect to see. So one of the flags. So as you start to see here, we saw the attack pretty quickly because if I open up the details here, you can see these policy violations just started to mount in right away. Share this tab instead. I'm bouncing around tabs. StreamYard doesn't like that. So if I go back to this process view, you can see here these policy violations because these are children that were outside of our policy. We're not expecting Jupyter Lab to run a bash shell, to run processes inside of a bash shell.
I have a couple of those children.
And so you can see this was when when Swiss Cheese was first running after he ran his scanner, and he was he did an LS to basically see if he had access. He ran wget to pull down that the command and control server, disastrous Samovar. So we see that we're seeing that wget. We see the wget, doing a DNS call out. In fact, we can even, if I look at the DNS, I can see here exactly what it was requesting, the DNS query it was making. And then we see it do a 443 connection out to the free app where it pulled down that C2C. They changed permissions on it, and then they ran it. Now, at the same time, you'll notice this change mod has 2 flags on it. Well, why is that? Because we're not just looking for policy violations. We also just look for suspicious activities. So we can see that not only did this, we're not expecting this process underneath Jupyter Lab, but just a service account running change mod, that's weird. So we just flag suspicious activities, and when I said we had time to detect, it wasn't because of the individual flags. This is I think what really separates SPYDERbat from other security products is that we go back to this tab really quickly. When I go to our dashboard, we're capturing all these flags inside of what we call a trace. And so if I open up this policy violation container trace, you can see here we had multiple flags inside of this trace. So instead of looking for, if I go down to just do the last hour of flags, we had 1.5, we had 1,500 flags in the last hour. you don't want to get alarms. You don't want 1,500 alarms coming into your SOC, coming into your dashboard that you're trying to investigate each individual one. So SPYDERbat, because we understand these relationships, we're able to then connect these dots. So we know that, hey, all of these policy violations and other suspicious activities, they're all part of the same sequence of activities. And that's what, when we investigate, that's what we're looking at here. So that score jumped up. And so when I said we're detecting you, that was after you ran that CDC. You can see we already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's six flags already. That was enough to bump up that score, where we knew that this is a real attack on the system. And now we could have taken an action right then, right, to kill that pod or whatever. But we wanted to let the attack continue. So you can see, what did your command and control do? It made a lot of outbound network connections on 80. We see all those. Here's the bash shell inside of a thread. So remember, this is that container inside of a container. So here's that bash shell that opens up, and here's all the commands you ran in that bash shell up to the point where you try to run that nano miner, and any executable like that, we were set in our policy to then trigger a pod restart. Just, hey, wait a second, there's something really wrong with this pod, this container. And so we took an action to kill the pod at that point in time.
Can you zoom in on those commands?
Yeah, how's that look?
I think you gotta switch screens.
Yeah, you're on the dashboard. So.
Shoot. Okay. It's on that. Sorry. So I said, here's that disastrous ammo. That's when that ran. That you could see all the command and control traffic running. We see exactly where that's going, what IP. I can even open that up, see if abuse IP or some other vulnerability your reputation list knows about that IP, see where that's coming from. And then we can see what this remember, this opened up a container inside the container. That's this thread. So we saw that. We see that as, and you can see this interactive shell inside a container. We flagged that. We tell you what MITRE attack technique this likely is associated with.
Oh, nice.
And if you're not familiar with that, go to MITRE, learn more on that. And then here's all of the commands that ran inside that bash shell. So here's where, this is where you went and fetched that nano miner. So we see the DNS request and then the actual where you pull down that tar. Looks like you ran tar a couple times, maybe didn't get you were playing around with next year. I always forget. I always have to man tar. And then when you try to kick off that nano miner, that's when we kill the pod. And notice that even though the pod, this container disappeared, it doesn't exist anymore, but we still have this stateful information. We even know like what environmental variables you had access to at this point in time. If, let's say, maybe that's how you got access to, here's that SSH session. So we know you read that file because we saw that cat reading out that file. Here's where we see that SSH session coming in that caused this bash shell to get created. And then we can see, what you were doing inside that bash shell. And I was just loading up the objects here in this trace where it would show you getting to that nano miner in this trace.
Sweet. That's pretty
So
bomb.
it detected the commands from a container inside a container. I don't think any other security tool would be able to do that.
Yeah, as you mentioned or as SPYDERbat mentioned in the prelude, the Silent Bob's meant to be quiet, right? It's supposed to be really hidden, and I think the ability to kind of catch these individual activities, not having to be worried about each one generating its own alarm, but being able to just associate each of these suspicious activities together and then raise that up. That's one of the ways we found the Silent Bob. The other way is by instrumenting this within the Linux kernel and getting that process information, that network information. If you're looking at audit-d records or other just activity logs on Linux, you would end up seeing. Audit-d doesn't even know about containers, so I can't imagine how you would have seen this with audit-d.
Cool. That's awesome. This tool really, really picked everything up.
All right, guys. This is for that. Take a minute to look at the stats. Time to pwn, 20 minutes. Hey, Tyler. Time to detect. So they were on it. 15 minutes, and then of course time to mitigate 15 minutes. It could have been, I think, a little bit sooner, but as soon as they tried to start up a nano miner, you killed it because you had a policy set. But awesome job, guys. Let's see what else we got.
Good job, Red Team. Though that was a slick attack. I'm just glad we were able to catch it.
Yep. Watch out, hackers. SPYDERbat's coming for you.
So we're not done, right? We've got another round coming up. We want to know, at least from the community side of things, what attack do you want us to do in round 3? If you have an idea, type it in the comments, or just tweet us a message in the HACKERverse. You could have a get there. And we'll post all of this in a blog. We'll also post everything in the YouTube channel. And join the HACKERverse. Tell us there. And with that, any last words before we cut?
Hack the planet.
That too. Okay, so what we're gonna do? We're gonna end with some gnarly Viking music. It will make your ears bleed. So turn it up.
Thanks everyone for tuning in.
It's not too late. Sorry about that. Put that link up there.